Are there some things in the porn industry that really helped you out to have just better sex?
You know what? It was a lot of my work with kink.com, which is a BDSM website,
Okay.
really helped to sort of like round out my understanding of the female, understanding of female sexuality, the female body, and sort of like erogenous zones and different ways to arouse women.
Tell me about
For example, the idea of pleasure through pain, right? And that's a big part of BDSM, right?
Yeah.
So things like spankings, floggings, became quite proficient with a flogger, which is like a kind of like a whip, like a not really super dangerous but painful whip. Things like that, things like bondage, things like nipple clamps and clothes pegs, and things like all these kind of kinky little ways of delivering, shall we say, pain. You learn that actually amplifies and wakes up a woman's nervous system. So things like that you would normally associate with pain can actually cause her to have a far greater response to pleasurable things. So it's kind of like the carrot and the stick in a way. Let's say in doggy style, incorporating things like spanking, or if you know how to use it, incorporating things like a flogger, you know how to use that correctly, you're waking up her skin, waking up her nervous system, and then that makes every single penetration or thrust 10 times more sensitive to her. One of the main points of BDSM is to amplify the sensations that women feel. So that was, I learned quite a lot from my experience doing those kind of things.
What are some very simple things we can utilize in the bedroom in terms of BDSM?
You could classify things like hair pulling and spanking. There's a like kind of very, very basic beginner level things. I think things like restraining a woman in a safe, consensual way, obviously. Something as simple as like pinning her hands down beside her in missionary position, or pinning her hands behind her back in like doggy style position like this. These are very basic beginner moves, but there's a deep like psychological element to what you're doing there. It's not even about like the physicality of what you're doing there isn't that overwhelming. It's a psychological thing. Oh, he's restraining my hands. I'm under his control now. That is submission by default. So it puts her in that submissive headspace where women truly want to be when they're in the bedroom with a guy.
What else?
I will start with talking about dirty talk here, because I think dirty talk is way more powerful than people give it credit for. If you really know what you're doing, you can literally make a woman orgasm without even touching her, just by whispering shit in her ear. You're not necessarily going to do that like the first time. That requires like building it up and anchoring and stuff, but you can eventually get to the point where you can anchor her feeling and the sensation, the physical response of her orgasm to like trigger words. That's really deep like NLP psychology stuff. You can get to that point. Getting to that point is quite challenging, but you can get halfway to that very easily, and that's as simple as when she's in an orgasmic state, when she's either having an orgasm or when she's super highly aroused, using a phrase that you would use again and again and again, like this pussy belongs to me. Whose pussy is this? Making her repeat shit back to you is a very big powerful one. It's your pussy, daddy. What's your pussy? Whatever. Making her repeat stuff makes it like go deeper and deeper into her subconscious. But saying a dirty talk phrase, a trigger phrase at like a height of her arousal, not only amplifies her arousal in the moment, but the next time you do it, it makes it even more powerful. You're just layering sexual amplification upon sexual
every sexual experience you have.
Every time you do it, every time it just makes it deeper and deeper into her subconscious. Like then her brain will be like, when he says this, I get wet instantly. Those two things just become instantly linked. And that's really useful in a long-term relationship. That keeps shit exciting and keeps shit fun. Her body is kind of under your verbal control at that point. Literally. I don't care who you are. That is exciting sexually to both the man and the woman. That's an entire rabbit hole you can go down.
So let's talk about like making her orgasm. What are the things important to make her orgasm?
Having dirty talk is a key component because it makes everything else easier. When her brain's heightened like that, any physical things you do, way easier.
So before even getting into the physical, you move into the mental.
If you start with the mental, it's like a shortcut. It's like cutting a marathon in half. So then with the physical stuff in terms of the penetration, if you think of sex in terms of like angles, everything becomes a lot easier to understand. So if you think of say like missionary or cowgirl positions, like basic positions, think of them in terms of where is my penis like hitting? Primarily, is the head of my penis hitting her G-spot? That's the trigger.
So G-spot is mainly the thing that we want to target while having sex.
Different ways women can orgasm, right? So a woman can have a clitoral orgasm. A woman can also have a vaginal orgasm, typically a G-spot stimulated orgasm, right? So if we can change the angle of penetration with, say, things like pillows and things, lifting her hips up, the head of our dick's directly stimulating her G-spot, we're more likely to get her off that way.
So this is for missionary, right?
That's for example in missionary. Another example would be in cowgirl. What most people think of in terms of cowgirl position, and this is primarily from pornos, is like the girl just going up and down on the guy's dick, or like twerking on his dick or whatever. Well, if you switch that up, and instead of having an up and down motion, if you have a forwards and backwards motion of her on top of you, what you're doing then is you're slamming the head of your dick again and again into that G-spot.
G-spot.
If you just sit there and let a woman grind on you, she will naturally you do that, she'll kind of grind that way. But if you take control of her body, and women typically smaller than the dudes they're having sex with, so she's light and you're stronger than her, you can physically manhandle her a bit. Well, you can do this, what I like to call it panning for gold, kind of like maybe like an old Western dude, like, you know, in the river, right, doing that, but with her hips, and you're physically moving her back and forth like that. If you kind of take a woman by surprise like that, if she's in a heightened like arousal state, and you kind of do that out of nowhere, you can get a woman to come pretty fast. You can you can do it in like a minute or two. And also remember that if she's doing this back and forth in a cowgirl position, what's also happening is her clitoris is going to be grinding a bit against your pelvic area. Got kind of two types of stimulation happening physically already. Cool. Then you can add in a third layer of dirty talk. Like if she's on top of you, pulling her in a bit and dirty talking into her ear, it's an extra sensation. You can pull her hair while she's doing that. It's a fourth sensation. You see how we're just layering different sensations in? Every different layer we can add in doesn't have to. You don't have to make it super complicated, but every little extra thing we can add in is going to heighten her arousal. Think of it this way: if a girl's giving you a blowjob and then she adds in her hands, it's even better. And then she starts tingling your balls. It's even better. Like she's all these different sensations make your experience better. So it works both ways. The same thing can work on women if we just get a little bit creative. That's why I look at it as like kind of like tools in a toolkit. I want the hammer today, or do I want the protract? I don't know. I'm not a technician, obviously.
Like a compass and shit.
I'm not a builder. Like if I saw out, what do I get out? What different tool for the job? And you can mix and match this endlessly to stop things being boring and predictable. You can mix and match and play around until you find the combination that works for her the best, unlocking her unique seed phrase.
So how much does size matter? Like the biggest insecurity for men?
I think globally the average size is probably 5 inches. There's a million things you can do to change that. It's not the be all and end all, although I do teach guys how to increase their size and stuff. The point of that is that so you can have control over it, so you don't feel so bloody helpless. So you don't feel like, I am stuck with this forever. Well, no, you can, if you want to change it, you can. You don't have to. You don't have to. Like, no one actually gives a shit. Like, okay, maybe there's some size queens out there, but they're sluts anyway, so what do you care about them anyway? It's a very self-imposed problem on guys. It's a mental prison guys put themselves in. But once you realize that there's all these other skill sets you can add in the bedroom into sex, that you can be you can have an average or a below average size penis, and you can absolutely rock a woman's world in the bedroom. It doesn't matter anymore. I think that's why it's important for guys to learn sexual skills, especially if they're insecure about that. It not only will get rid of that insecurity, it'll build confidence, genuine confidence for them.
I've seen a lot of your testimonials, a lot of videos where you talk about you can actually grow fucking penis size.
I've done it myself. I document proof of it on my website.
How much size were you before?
I gained 1.2 inches in length and about 1/3 of an inch in girth over the course of 8 months.
8 months?
Yeah. Right. I was pretty obsessed with it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I did it
were you insecure as well?
I did it at the very, very beginning of my porno career. So I wasn't insecure about it. But I did my first ever porno, and then I watched it, and I'm like, shit, my dick looks small. Prior to that, I'd had women telling me my dick was great.
Yeah.
But I was like, it wasn't like a sexual performance thing. It was like fuck, this is a career path I'm going down. I should probably do something to make my performance look better. Yeah. So it was like I just obsessed over it, got super autistic about it, found everything I could possibly find on the topic, and then just tried everything out, and basically found what worked.
So what did you stumble upon?
There's a bunch of different techniques. There's physical exercises you can do, manual stretching exercises you can do. There's a few different devices you can use. I used a hanger, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. You hang a light weight off your penis safely. There's a couple of companies that do that, Zan Hanger and Bib Hanger. 10 minutes a day maximum hanging. You very, very slowly raise the weight, like literally every week or 2 weeks, you add a little bit more weight. Within 2 to 3 months, you will actually see some pretty significant gains on stretching the ligaments that keep everything attached to your pelvic area. The other thing is pumping, and that's done through a vacuum pump or a water pump. Things like Bathmate is a great example. It's a water pump, very, very safe. Also, added side benefit is that it helps improve your blood flow down there. So you're going to get stronger, more reliable erections too, as well as increasing the girth and the length over time as well. And that only takes 10 minutes in the shower in the morning to do that, and it's super easy.
But with the case of hanging, you could do a lot of damage as well, don't you think?
If you do too much weight too quickly, yes. You kind of have to trick your body in a way to respond to it. You need to start off light. If you start off heavy, you're going to hurt yourself. You just start off very, very light and then incrementally add that weight. So your body has to react to that new stimulus slowly over time and adjust to it and basically adjust accordingly. If you stack the weight too much, if you stack the weight on and you wear it for too long, you don't need hours of hanging. You don't need 10 minutes a day max. 10, 20 minutes a day max is plenty to see the results if you stick with it consistently.
So you just hang and stand or like just sit on like a...
You sit on the edge of your chair, wear very, very loose like gym shorts or like a loose tracksuit pants or something like that. You can hang down the side of your leg and you'll be fine with it, yeah.
If we were to find out some of your supplements and some of the things that you say,
if you go to stirlingcooper.com, you'll find everything. Links to all my ebooks, my video courses, links to my supplements, my free newsletter. Stirlingcooper.com is the one-stop resource for anything me. If I get something nuked in my socials after the change, you'll know there.